Talk about fuel efficiency is all the rage these days, with gas prices nearing $7 a gallon here in Southern California. So I thought it was the perfect time to own not only one, but two of the notoriously thirsty Ford V10 6.8 liter Triton engines in the form of the E-350 Super Duty. So how bad is the fuel economy on these V10 beasts? Well, tonight we're going to find out. Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor. And for those of you who follow the channel regularly, you'll know that almost a year ago, I picked up this 2001 E-350 Sportsmobile conversion. It's lifted about 4 inches, it's got meaty tires on it, it's got a pop top that goes all the way up and allows you to comfortably stand inside, and it has a fully built out interior from a company called Sportsmobile. You can find the link below to our full introductory video. I've been spending a good amount of time with this, gotten to take it out a number of times at this point. I really like it. It's a fun car for me. It's definitely got its quirks, but I enjoy it. But then this is new to the channel. This is my most recent purchase. This is a 1997 E350 Club Wagon. So it's kind of a Super Duty, but it's also one that came with 15 seats and the windows and the sliding side door. This was the first year of the V10 in the E350. In fact, I don't know if they called them E350s before this. I think they did. I don't know if they were called Super Duties though, but either way, this is the first year you could get the V10. This year, it made 265 horsepower and 410 pound-feet of torque. However, for 2001, actually back in, I think it was year 2000 maybe, this one makes 305 horsepower and 425 pound-feet of torque. A little bit of a different engine configuration, but they are nearly similar. So I'm going to be doing a full dedicated video on this van, talking about why I picked it up, what my plans are with it, and kind of what it is. But the super long and short is I found it for a great deal. I paid about $3,300 for it with 190,000 miles on it and some key improvements and upgrades. And one, I'm just kind of a sucker for a good deal and also a Ford V10 vehicle. I love the heavy duty trucks of this era in general. But also I wanted to do this video. I wanted to compare the lifted and all-terrain tire and camper van version of the V10 compared to a stock one. And also I was just curious, how bad is the fuel economy? Now, from what I've experienced so far, I've been getting about 11 MPG with this one, which is honestly a little bit better than I thought. And that's with mountain camping trips in there, a lot of idling, a lot of alternator running, and obviously a lot of elevation. So I suspect I might be able to squeeze out 12 MPG or so at 70 miles per hour with that one, maybe even 14 or 15 with this one, cruising at 70. I don't know. We'll see. So the way I'm going to do this test, typically for our fuel economy tests, is we do 100 miles, 50 out, 50 back, and fill up. However, both because of time and money, I'm going to shrink the tests. We're going to do 50 miles roughly on each van. So I'm going to go to the gas station. I'm going to fill up both. Probably start with the white one. I'm going to fill it up, go out and do 25 miles out, 25 back, come back and fill it all the way up to full, calculate our fuel economy, and then we'll go out with the silver one and do the same exact test. Other things to note, I'm going to fill the tire pressures all the way up to their door placard. We're going to be a rock solid, I think it's 75 front, 50 rear. And give my compressor a little bit of work there. Obviously neither of these are remotely stock. This one's got tow mirrors and it's got a little bit of bumper action, a little bit of solar panel on the top, and 190,000 miles. But it is rocking fairly street friendly Goodyear Workhorse HTs. No, Goodyear Wrangler Workhorse HTs. Highway terrains, I assume, so slightly aggressive tire, but definitely street oriented and street friendly. It looks like OEM size. The Sportsmobile, however, is running a set of Firestone Destination XTs. And I went with this tire because I wanted to be able to take this to some fairly decent off-roading spots, and it's done a fantastic job with that so far. This is only a 2-wheel drive van, so having the traction is critical. I want to be able to take it to snow if I want to. I want to be able to take it into some mud, into some sand, and we haven't had nary a slip with it so far, potentially because this van weighs almost 9,000 pounds. That is something else I need to do. I need to weigh this one and see what our full weight is. So without any further ado, we should head to the pump. Never ask you to like and subscribe or anything like that, but I don't know, maybe consider it for this video because this one's going to be costly. These both have 35-gallon tanks. Those of you who watch Daily Motor regularly potentially have a little interest in this one. Let's do a little startup roll out here. It is in need of some fuel. It's quite empty. This is going to be a substantial fill when I do this. As I said, a few things to note for the test. Outside temperature should be about 65 degrees or so Fahrenheit. We're going to be running this test in the evening when there's no, or at least less traffic out on the highway. We're going to be maintaining a steady state 71 miles per hour. Now, obviously, we're going to be a little bit different from our regular tests. The moving average is going to be a little bit lower, but I'm just going to have to work with it. This is a silly test anyway. Tire pressure is going to be set to their door placard. I mentioned that. And typically we run the climate control at 73 auto, but no automatic climate control in these. So we're just going to stick it right in the middle and run on normal AC. Now this van, being the Club Wagon and the XLT, has both front and rear air conditioning, and the AC does work, thank goodness. In fact, we're going to fire that up right now. A little bit toasty in here. So, without any further yapping, let's head to the test. Here we are in the evening, just topped off the white one, put over 4 gallons in the big old tank. Going to reset the analog trip computer here. That doesn't look like it resets all the way. Okay. Oh. No. Okay. Oh, there we go. We're moving. There we go. 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay. GPS started. Let's start it up and roll. The AC going, normal AC, 50%, fan speeds 1 and 1. We're moving. Now, I do need to point out that the tire pressures are not fully set to their door placard because I thought to myself I should probably top these off before the test throughout this week, and then it's been a crazy week, like it seems like every week is when you have children. And I didn't get a chance to, so I got to the tire inflator here at the gas station, and the fronts were at 35, they needed to be at 55. The rears were at 52, they needed to be at 80. Well, the machine here at the gas station didn't even go up to 80, it maxed out at 70. So, the rears are at 62, and the fronts are at 55. Now, most people who kind of daily these heavy-duty vans, they don't run at full tire pressure because those pressures are made so that if you're towing the maximum capacity with this van, the tires will be okay. You don't need to be that high for just daily driving, especially running an empty van like this. So we're going to have to spend a good amount of time getting the silver one all up to those pressures as well once we get rolling. But that's what we're running here on the white one. Engine is all warmed up from sitting there idling while I did the tire pressures, so we are up to temp, good to get up to speed. Now, just like with all of our other tests, the goal here is not to hypermile. I'm not trying to get the best possible fuel economy for this van, but rather a realistic figure. I want to know, what does this 190,000 mile V-10 heavy duty van get when cruising at 70 miles per hour? So in order to test it out, we're getting up to highway speed here at a reasonable pace, and I'm going to set the cruise control at a GPS indicated 71 miles per hour. Now, since we're not doing the full 100 miles, we won't quite be averaging 70 over the whole test, but we should still get a fairly useful figure. Does look like our speedometer is reading a bit high. I also feel like we have maybe a little bit of a vibration, although I haven't driven this with rock solid tires yet, so there's that as well. There we are, 71. Aside from some sort of vibration, this should be a pretty decent place to be on the highway. We've got this armrest on the side here, very comfortable upright seating position. Not terribly loud, although there definitely is an echoey box factor. But the sun is going down. We are ready to cruise. So I'm going to continue on with the test and catch up with you in the middle here before we switch vans. And in the meantime, enjoy this time lapse of the entire trip. Oh, and as a little bonus, I will be recording a members only sound test on the van here. So if you want to hear how awful one of these sound systems was, check the link below. I do believe these are stock speakers in here. Coming into the end of test number 1 here on the white van. We have just gotten our fuel gauge to start ticking down, coming right off of F there. Overall fairly smooth. I mean, aside from the fact that this thing is juddering pretty darn hard. Again, no reason to have all this air in the tires for a pretty empty cabin. That being said, I forgot to mention for the fuel portion of this that I did end up putting the four-wheeler back in the back of the van here. So we've got about a 380-pound four-wheeler in the back of this, but no rear seats. So it'd kind of be the same as if you had all the seats in and then maybe one other person. I mean, cruising on the highway here, 380 pounds, not gonna make a difference. Now, while we don't have a tachometer on the gauge, I do have my OBD2 scanner plugged in here, and I checked it earlier, and we are running at 2,160 RPM, 2160 at 71 miles per hour, which, yeah, it's pretty darn low. Well, actually, wait a minute. No, it's actually not that low. Oh, why did all of my lights just come on? That's kind of spooky, isn't it? I must have a door sensor that doesn't work very well. Okay, well, hopefully nothing flies open on us here in the last few moments on the highway. But yeah, a little high, 2160 for the V10. I bet you we have a pretty aggressive gear ratio in here. I bet you we have something like 410 gears or something. Because this van, it's just, it's jumpy. It really is. It accelerates quick. So it'll be interesting to see. I really hope I remember to get the OBD2 scanner in the silver van. In fact, I'll just unplug it right now and put it in my pocket. So we'll put in the silver van and see what revs we're running on that one. But let's get this to the pump, fill it up with gas, and see what fuel economy you get out of a 190,000 mile 97 V10 van. We are topped back off, put in a total of 3.428 gallons back into the big old tank here. And we traveled 51.8 miles. 51.8 miles divided by 3.428 is giving us, look at that, 15 miles per gallon here for the 97 Ford E-350. Technically, yeah, Ford E-350 Super Club Wagon is technically the term of it, with the V10. Okay, so like I said, I bet you we're running 410 gears in this. 15 miles per gallon, doing 71 miles per hour. So if you dialed it back to 65, I bet you could see 17, 18. Not terrible, honestly. Now next time we'll have to throw a big old trailer on here and pull and see if we can stay above 10. So if you take that 15 miles per gallon times the 35 gallon fuel tank, you should be able to do comfortably over 500, maybe about 520 miles on the tank here in a relatively stock E350 V10. But what happens when you throw all-terrain tires on there, lift it up, and fill it up with thousands of pounds of camping gear? All right, let's go find out. All right, we had a hefty fill for the silver one, $81, 15 gallons back in here as we slowly roll the right window up. And let's reset our trip. That one resetting a little more confidently. Get our GPS set. Temp right there in the middle. Ready to roll. Now, in one particular respect, I should have done the white van second, and that is the headlights. This van has what some people like to refer to as candlesticks for their headlights, for its headlights, I should say. Not very good, not very bright. The white van has some probably illegal, super bright white LEDs. So, yes, you're probably blinding people on the road, but at least you can see well. Now, this one does have these super lights, but those would definitely blind people. Super illegal also, so I guess we are just going to be hoping and praying. I honestly haven't driven this much at night, so it's kind of a neat experience. Same old song and dance, getting up to highway speed here. And let's see how accurate the GPS is on this one. Oh, my seat lights work on my custom Recaro seat. That's kind of cool. Got the Wolfbox rearview mirror cam going in there. Looks like it needs a little bit of a cleaning, but definitely helping. I will say it's louder in here. I do love the performance of these Firestones, but there's no getting around the fact that they are louder than a standard kind of all-season or highway terrain tire. There we go. Looks like in this van, 70 on the dash is giving us 72. No, 71, 72 range on the GPS. So I think that'll be a good place to settle in. Okay. Same old song and dance, a little bit of sound test, a little bit of time lapse, and then let's wrap this testing up. Not quite as smooth of a run for the big silver camper van. I need to remember that when I do these tests and they run late, like this one, well after 9 o'clock, construction starts. And going southbound, we were stopped for a little bit there. Kind of stopped and then slow crawl getting through that. So definitely not a super apples to apples test, but fortunately it's not like this is a brand new car or anything like that. It's more of just a fun test for me. Anyway, now, the fuel gauge is a decent bit lower, and throughout my time having this van, it does seem like I'm just not able to put as much fuel in it as I thought I should be able to. So I wonder, and I'm going to have to look up, if the Sportsmobile conversion here eliminates part of the fuel capacity. I wonder if I'm running with a smaller tank here, just 28 gallons or something like that. Because we are well under the F, well under full, but also I don't expect this one to be as fuel efficient. I would be satisfied if we had 12. If we get back to the pump, we calculate 12 MPG. That would be my, like, cool. 11, I'd be like, okay. 10, I'd be like, oh man, alright. Anything lower than that, awful. Anything above 12, I see as a win. I did check the revs on this one as well, 2100. So we probably have the same axle ratio, but just because of the tires. Would that make sense? I don't know if I can do that math right now, or even just that concept. So don't make fun of me. But a larger wheel, we should be doing slower revolutions, right? Yeah, okay, so that would make sense that we are at a lower rev when in this than we are in the white van. The white van's running faster, a little bit smaller outside diameter. So it's probably the same axle ratio. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Well, hopefully, maybe somebody in the comments who has one of these vans, or a few of them or something, can tell me what axle ratio I'm running based on those RPMs, but I bet you I can look it up before then anyway. So, we're going to get this one back to the pump, fill it up, do our final calculations. We are all fueled back up, put in 4.111 gallons into the tank of the Sportsmobile. 51.8 miles divided by 4.111 is giving us, okay, we did just barely beat 12. Now technically, when you're dealing with fuel economy this low, you probably should use the 10th place, because it actually makes a difference here. But so it's like, if I were really being specific, I would keep 12.6, but here at Daily Motor we typically round to the nearest whole digit. So hey, 13 miles per gallon, I'll give it here to the Sportsmobile at 71 miles per hour. Now, like I said, it wasn't a super clean test, and we had some some traffic and everything like that. And honestly, when I'm driving this on the highway, I'm typically doing more like 67 miles per hour. So I'm probably doing closer to a solid 13.5, maybe even 14 MPG. Now, what was that? 12.6 divided by 15. So it's about a 16% drop from the white van. To me, that's not terrible considering the added usability, the added traction, all the weight and the gear and everything like that, but definitely going to add up if you're doing big miles. Considering, or assuming we do have that 35-gallon fuel tank in here, 35 gallons times 13 miles per gallon is giving you 450 miles of highway cruising range. I've definitely been getting less than that. I mean, maybe my meter's not super accurate. Maybe there's a big reserve. Maybe I have a smaller tank. Maybe it's just from the harder driving we've been doing. I don't know. I've been getting 350 or so before I'm down toward E. But, yeah, I don't know. Still decently usable there. So, kind of a silly test, not a perfect science, but it is interesting to see how these V10s suck fuel, because people love to talk about, they're absolutely terrible. And yes, 15, 13, really not great figures, but still going to be cheaper for me to buy something like this or buy that white van, drive it, keep my maintenance simple, oil changes simple, everything like that. Still a lot cheaper than buying something new, even if it gets better fuel economy. Plus, new engines don't sound like this. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the Sportsmobile or the white van, check the link below. We've got some fun videos on them. And we will see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.